Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. Rick is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, over 20 years experience in the financial industry. You can always find out more about Rick, Reed, Eddie, and the team at Safeguard. It's safeguardinvestment.com. Safeguardinvestment.com. Questions. Boy, Rick, can I retire? Or when can I retire? Do I have enough? Will my money last as long as I need it to? Really, at the end of the day, kind of wonder, am I going to be okay if I retire? Are we going to be okay if we retire? That's what this team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group is here to do, help you put your retirement into the big picture blueprint: income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare, all those decisions. 800-700-1980. If you'd like to chat with Rick and the team, there's no cost for this. I think it's one of the more important phone calls you can make, because if nothing else happens from a 15, 20-minute phone call just to say, here's some of the questions and concerns I have, when you're done with that, I can almost guarantee that you're going to walk away with certainly a much better picture of where you are on that road to retirement. Maybe you already could have retired. Maybe you need to work a little bit more. We don't know. But I think it's why it's such an important phone call. Give you a little clarity into your retirement picture. 800-700-1980. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Oh, really good, Mark. Doing really very well. How you doing?
Doing well. You know, a lot of things happened early November, basically, where the IRS has said, hey, we're going to open up some of the tax brackets. We're going to add about 5.4% to the bracket. So it's not like we've been talking about that in 2026, the Trump tax law basically is going to go back to 2017 rates and brackets. That's not the case, but they added money. So, for example, the 22% bracket for married couples is $89,451 to $197.50 now. But next year it's going to go to $94,300 as the bottom of it, and $201 and $50 is the top of it. So they raised the brackets. There's a little more room in there, so you can make a little bit more money. Maybe because they feel sad about our inflation that we're dealing with, right? Going to the grocery store, Rick, right? Costs more. Yeah. So when you think about that, the IRS has kind of changed the brackets for next year. We have a little bit more room in there than we've had, so that's good. We can make a little bit more money and we'll get more taxes. That's a positive. The other thing that they always do at this time of the year is they come out with the new IRA limits, the 401k limits, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess we should save more. I mean, everybody would probably be better off, but there's downside to that too, because you talk a lot about taxes. It seems like if I'm putting more into my regular 401k, I might be causing me more tax issues down the line.
You know, here's the thing. I mean, obviously, the more we save, the better. Of course, we have to have balance and, enjoy life and what have you. But, here's a general thing I want people to understand that are listening to the show. What we're seeing is, people put money away in their 401ks, their IRAs, their SEPs, their KEOs, the TSPs, the 403bs, the 457s, and you get a nice tax deduction now. However, later on when we retire, we know that when we go to pull the money out, we're taxed on the money that we pull out. So, and we don't, we're charged at marginal rates. And the challenge that we have is that the more we pull out, you were just talking about the different brackets. The more we pull out, potentially, there's two scenarios here. Any money I pull out of my IRA, let's call it 401k, not only am I taxed on it, but that can also affect the taxation on my Social Security. So there's two whammies here. Not only do I have to control how much I'm pulling out per year in order to minimize what marginal rates I'm falling into, but I may even have to control how much I'm pulling out so that my Social Security is not being dinged too hard as well. So what I'm seeing now, people retiring, is that during the working years, we have the convenience of being in a lower bracket by contributing to our 401ks, and we're enjoying that and reaping those rewards. But later on, when we're retired and we need that money to live on, we're finding out that in some cases, depending on the client situation, could be paying more in taxes when they retire than when they were working. And maybe while they were working, it would have made more sense for them to contribute to a Roth. So those of you that are listening right now, it's important that you sit down with somebody so that even give us a call. where we can analyze your situation, determine which one should you be contributing to. Because let me give you a scenario that I see a lot of clients run into. Let's say you're retired now, and most of your money is in your 401k or IRA, a big portion of it.
That would be typical, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be typical?
That would be very typical.
Yeah.
And the scenario is now, let's say you decide, you know what, I want to downsize. I want to sell my home, take the equity and buy somewhere else and pay cash for a place and live a nice, comfortable retirement. But I'll see clients where in the process of selling their home, they identify a property that they want, but they need cash to put down or cash to buy that other property. And the only real money they have to get it from is from the retirement account. So if they need 400 grand and they pull that money out to buy the home, now that home's going to cost them 500, 550. And if they don't time escrow properly, and let's say they just need the money to buy the place until their home is sold, if that doesn't happen within 60 days, now we have a huge tax concern that we have to worry about. Or maybe they want a brand new car. Right now, let's say, I had a client come in the other day, they wanted to buy a car at 75 grand. Normally, you just say, okay, we'll just finance it. But at interest rates at 8% now, some people are like, hey, I'd rather pay cash. I don't want, back in the day when interest rates were like 3 or 2% for a car, yeah, it didn't make sense to pay for it. Maybe you finance it. But now at today's rates, if somebody wants to buy cash and they don't want any bills, instead of paying 75 grand for the car, now maybe we got to pay 95 or 100 grand just to cover the taxes. So what I'm seeing is that the IRAs, the 401ks, in some cases can shackle people, where if you have money in a Roth IRA, we don't have to worry about any of this nonsense. If we want to go and buy a property, we can. If we want to go buy a car, we can. We don't have to worry about, if I'm pulling too much out of my IRA or 401k, not only am I going to pay a bunch of taxes, not only is it going to cause my Social Security to be taxed, but now I also have to worry, is that going to cause my healthcare premiums to go up? So now you have this huge domino effect, where with the Roth IRA, we don't have to worry about any of those things. So rather than getting caught by surprise, what I suggest, those of you that are putting tons of money in your IRA, 401k, give us a call. Let us sit down with you. Let us analyze your situation based upon what your goals are going forward when you retire. We may be able to structure something where you could actually have the best of both worlds, still get a good tax deduction now, but later on when you retire, you're not overpaying in taxes. And those of you that are 59 and a half right now, and you're contributing to your 401ks, or 59 and a half or older, and you're still working, you're able to do an in-service withdrawal from your 401k to a traditional IRA. We may be able to help you strategically set that money up for you to be in a better tax position when you retire. So I'm sorry I went on a rant there, Mark, but I had a lot that I just wanted to cover.
No, it makes sense. I mean, if you want to buy a car for 75 grand, you got to pull it out of your IRA. It's going to cost you more because you got to pay taxes on that money because you haven't paid on it yet. That's what you have to do at 73. In today's world, they've changed it from 70 and a half, 72 to 73. For me, I'm 64 now, Rick. How about that? I'm a year older, just in a month when I talked to you last. But you think about it, my RMD age is going to be 75 because they said in 2033 they're going to move it up to 75. So all of that Roth conversation, the windows, depending on your age, are short if you're really close to 73. But if you're like me and you're 64 and you really have 12 years to get there, or 11 years, I guess, you've got some time on your hand to maybe move some of that money. 800-700-1980, again, is the number to talk with Rick Rivera and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Now, remember this. We all love the idea of tax-free, but it's not always right for everyone. So Rick's not saying you should do this. He's saying you should talk to him, and let's see if it makes sense for you. 800-700-1980. And maybe explain a little bit more about that in-service rollover, if you will, taking the money out of your 401k and then rolling it into an IRA after you're 59 and a half or older. Most companies allow you to do that. And if you're going to work till 65, Rick, that's 5.5 years of actually taking more control of your money because you have way more options in the IRA world than you do the 401k world.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, like if you're 59 and a half, obviously, with your 401k you've been contributing to, your investment options are limited as far as what they offer you. But now that you're getting closer at 59 and a half, as you're getting closer to retirement, and maybe, retirement's only 5-6 years away, the advantage of being able to draw that money out and go into a traditional IRA is, number one, obviously there's not going to be taxes on that on that conversion because it's, going qualified to qualified. But now that you have more investment options, it allows you to invest your money in such a way that is specifically geared towards your retirement planning. Because let's say you need to create income in retirement. Well, now we can start structuring the investments in a way that'll give you guaranteed income when you retire. Maybe we need to structure the investment. So like we were talking earlier, maybe you should be thinking about Roth conversion so we can think about doing that. So what it does is it allows us to fine tune your objectives going forward. The challenge for many people when they have their 401k is that maybe the company gives you a choice of 15 or 20 different funds. Those 401ks are really more of an incentive. They're more for accumulating. But once we start getting closer to income distribution stage and retirement stage, now the game has changed and we need to be able to have other tools, other products, other investments that can really dial in our retirement more specifically for our situation. So by being able to convert some of that money from your 401k to a traditional IRA while you're still working is a very powerful tool, and you should definitely take it into consideration. Now, there are some scenarios where some people may not want to do that, but when you sit down with us, we'll be able to let you know if it makes sense for you to do that or not.
And that's the bottom line is this: it's your retirement, right? It's your money. But if you don't really have your own personal wealth coach or your chief financial officer, like the CEOs of big companies or the big companies have as well, this is your opportunity to actually get some really good advice. Doesn't mean Rick can help and the team at Safeguard can help. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Maybe the Roth world makes sense for you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes sense to roll your 401k into an IRA. Maybe it doesn't. Everybody's situation is unique, and that's how Rick and the team look at it. But this is an opportunity to find out more about where you are. The number, again, no cost to you. There's no obligation. There's no pressure. 800-700-1980. Take advantage of this opportunity. 15-minute phone call for the next 20, 30-plus years of your life. Priceless, as the old MasterCard commercial said. 800-700-1980. Time to do it right now. Let's get started. 800-700-1980. Back with more of Rick Rivera's Big Picture Retirement Show right after this.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Rick, a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, and they're here to help guide you. The Big Picture Blueprint will give you direction. We'll also give you some clarity on your road to retirement, income planning, investment planning, tax-efficient strategies, healthcare, long-term care, legacy planning, Social Security decisions. That's in the income part. Medicare decisions. It's in the healthcare part. A lot of decisions we have to make when we get to retirement, things that we didn't have to worry about while we were working, right? We just put money in our 401k or whatever we had at work and hope it grew. And we get to a point where, hey, we can retire. We didn't have to worry about all the X's and O's that you do in retirement. That's where a team like Safeguard Investment Advisory Group and Rick Rivera are here to help guide you. I think it's a very important opportunity for all of us to sit down with Rick and the team. If you have that opportunity, you're getting closer to retirement. Maybe you're even already retired and it's not going exactly the way you were hoping. This is an opportunity to find out more. Get some of your questions answered, concerns maybe looked into. 800-700-1980, 800-700-1980. I think we've done this topic before, a little timeless advice, Rick, on the show before. And I'm pretty sure I asked you, what was a piece of timeless advice you got from parent, grandparent, coach, teacher? You think of any off the top of your head?
I think
last time you said, you put me on the spot. I haven't had time to think about it. See, so now we're a month or two later.
Yeah, I know. And now you're putting me on the spot again. Because I get I've gotten so much advice from them, to actually pick one that stands out. I don't know what to say at this point, but yeah, you kind of caught me off guard again.
Yeah. The one I always like, and I always go to it because it's easy to think about, is that we can always fool the people around us. Mm-hmm. We can't fool the person in the mirror. I like that one. I think that's good. And the sad thing is I fool myself all the time. And then I go, you're an idiot. What are you doing? So here you go.
Right.
Here's some timeless advice, and we're going to tie it into retirement. That's what Rick's going to do for us. The first timeless advice is from Charles Dickens, the giant in the literary world. And he said this: annual income, 20 pounds. Annual expenditure, 19.6. Result, happiness. Annual income, 20 pounds. Annual expenditure, 20 pound ought and 6. Result, misery. So basically, in the Queen's English, Charles Dickens says, don't spend more than you make. And that seems like an easy thing to do, but sometimes it's a little more challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially,
I mean, the grocery bills are too high. Gas is too high. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot of
and
things
then
that
you
are
got
different.
kids, especially raising kids and, the cost of daycare and mortgages and car insurance and everything is going up, and then God forbid there's an emergency and, you're dipping into your savings or maybe you got to put things on credit cards. It can be extremely difficult for many people, to do that. But at the end of the day, for those of us that are, planning for retirement, it's one of these scenarios where it all boils down to income versus expenses. And I can relate to this in the sense that sometimes I'll have some people coming in and they'll be very upset and stressed out because, they read some general information somewhere that says, hey, you need to save $1 million or $2 million, whatever the number is that, the new number now is that you need to have for retirement. And they didn't save that amount of money. However, if the bills are, $3,000 a month and Social Security and pensions are $8,000 a month, because they have no debt, they did such a good job controlling income versus expenses, they're going to be fine. They don't need to stress out. But then on the other hand, if I got somebody that, is patting themselves on the back because they did save the million, but they tell me they need 10 grand a month to live on, then we might say, hey, listen, that million's not going to last you. So everything is relative. And what I do see in retirement planning is not so much how much they save, but really income versus expenses, get that under control. And that's what really allows us to have the comfortable retirement or be in a much better position.
Yeah, and if that's you'd like to learn more about where you actually are. 800-700-1980 is the number to talk with Rick Rivera, the team at Safeguard Investment Advisor Group. 800-700-1980, complimentary, no cost to you. The next one comes from Dave Ramsey, and we all know Dave Ramsey for debt. Right? Get out of debt, ways to do it. He's got some great ideas when it comes to debt. Now, his financial advice, I'm not sure I'm buying that. I read an article recently where he said, take 8% out of your portfolio, you're fine. You're going to be fine. Well, his debt advice is fantastic. The financial advice, I'm not sure I'm listening to Dave Ramsey. That being said, though, Dave Ramsey said this, Rick. He said, you must gain control over your money or the lack of it will forever control you.
That is true. 100%. And I think most people can relate to that or quite understand what he means by that. From the standpoint, again, income versus expenses. Am I spending my money down? How are my investments set up? But the other thing too that comes into play that I see, because again, this is, what he's saying here is very common sense. If you don't get control over your money, it's going to get control over you. That's common sense. But here's the big thing that I want people to understand and retirees to understand. Once you've won the comfortable retirement, let's say at 62 or 65, whatever that, time is you're going to retire, don't get too comfortable. Because if you're not reviewing it over a period of time, you may have won the comfortable retirement, but you can lose it. Because here's the thing. People are living 20, in some cases 30 years into retirement. So once you settle down, you're like, hey, I controlled my expenses. I did this, I did that. I won the comfortable retirement over a 20, 30-year period of time. If you're not watching it and you're doing and you're doing things just kind of willy-nilly, you can certainly lose it. And the other thing where I've seen people lose their retirements is sometimes even helping the children out too much, being overly generous and eating into their returns. So then later on in life, when they needed the money for healthcare costs or hiring somebody to do some of the heavy lifting they can't do anymore, they don't have the funds to do it. So whatever assets you have, yeah, of course, it's common sense that, hey, we need to control our money. Otherwise, it's going to control us. But even if we're in a great position, we need to make sure that this is being monitored and there is no holes in that bucket. So as you get older and older, you're finding out, hey, wait a minute, I have a shortfall here. So everything has to be strategic going forward.
Absolutely. And everybody's situation is unique, and debt is a factor. There's no question for a lot of folks when it comes to retirement planning and how long your money will last. 800-700-1980 to chat with Rick and the team at Safeguard. 800-700-1980. Final one. And this one, I think, because we always talk about your big picture blueprints, your planning process for your clients. And this one comes from Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, "It takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan." I like that.
Yeah. And,
I think it takes a lot of energy for you to help people plan, but
yeah, you know what it is? This is a scenario where I right away, the first thought comes to mind is procrastination. You know what? I know that retirement planning and investment planning and tax law is not an exciting topic and nobody really wants to talk about it. But at the end of the day, it can make such a huge difference. Dramatic difference. Now, I'm not talking a negligible difference. I'm talking a dramatic difference in the comfort and lifestyle you're going to be able to have when you retire. And then also the beauty of knowing that, not running into surprises. So many times you run into a situation where people didn't plan, they go to retire, certain scenarios happen, they're caught behind the 8 ball, and they're like, oh my God, if I only knew. Or if I knew about this particular strategy technique 10 years ago or 5 years ago, I'd be in such a much better place. Folks, if you can sit down with us for 45 minutes, within 45 minutes, I've been doing this long enough that I can give you at least 2 ideas that'll enhance whatever you're doing. It'll cost you nothing to do. So you got to sit, just like you go to the doctor to get a physical every once in a while to make sure that everything is good. I mean, it cannot hurt to have someone review your overall scenario, make sure that you're not going to run into any surprises in retirement. And if it can be enhanced, why not find out? So this is just people running procrastination.
So it's an opportunity for you, as Rick said. You would like to learn more about where you are on that road to retirement. Can I retire? Well, when can I retire? Do I have enough? Will my money last as long as I need it to? 800-700-1980 again is the number. There's no cost to you. There's no obligation. There's no pressure. 800-700-1980. Again, that's 800-700-1980. Rick, as always, enjoyed it. Have a great weekend, and we'll do it again
Same to
next
you,
week.
Mark. Thank you so much.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.